And we are live. All right, world, how are we doing? Happy Wednesday. I am, okay, cool. Making sure I can just see the comments over here. When you get on, say hello so that I can say hello back to you. We're going to be jamming about some Lovergirl basics, and I was inspired to bring forward this conversation because of what we are delving into inside of my Love in the Time of Dragons, which is my Eclipse Lab experience and program that I have for the STARDISCO space opera, and just some of the conversations that we're having in there around relationships and desiring to be seen. And actually just posted something about most women, things that I hear a lot, and in relationships that come up in relationships is like not feeling that their man is rising to meet them, that they're not feeling chosen, that they're not feeling seen, or that they wish that I think I said this already, they wish their men would step it up, and let's see, where do we even begin? Something that happens a lot in my world, like all the time, is that people say, oh my God, like I've done so much work, I've worked with so many people, and maybe they're even already married or in relationships or whatever. And they're like, I finally feel seen. And this is a little bit heartbreaking, even though it's so common. And I think that's part of the heartbreaking part, is that it is so common. Because for me and in my world and how I roll, being seen is so basic. Being seen, the feeling of being seen is so basic. When you come and work with me, you come to get what I call seened, SCENED, right? Like you are living, because you're living your fairy tale mythos, larger than life, legendary, and you are like getting seen in your fairy tale, right? And so in order to get seen, like being seen is a foundation, right? It's like that's like 101, right? Like that has to be so basics, because you have to be able to see someone and see someone clearly in order to really know what they need, in order to want more for them, in order to take a stand and a personal responsibility, and having the mastery to invest in them, to be so into them that you're giving them what they need beyond what they think that they need, beyond what they feel they're capable of receiving, beyond what they admit that they want for themselves, right? Like mastery, authority, and investment, like over and over and over again, right? So these are the things that I bring to the table in my relationships, right? Like not just my personal one-to-one relationship, my relationship of over 20 years, which I want to talk about when it comes to time and depth, because this was one of the, the moons in Scorpio. So like this is a vibe. But in my work, in my life's work that I do with my clients and in my space opera. So, okay. Give me a moment for vanity for my hair. Okay, so being seen, right? So I was explaining to someone yesterday, they were talking about going deeper, right? Like, how is it that, and this is another thing that people talk about all the time, like, oh my God, I finally feel seen. And a lot of that comes from the fact that I go deep, and I go deep really fast. And that is something that for most people is quite shocking, because number one, I really appreciate time. I have a very special relationship with time, like fucking chef's kiss with time. And so I really value time, I really appreciate time, and so I don't waste time. Okay, I don't waste time. And for most people, depth takes time. And I would I would agree for the most part that, that there, like, depth does take time. And what I mean by that is, in order to get really deep into something, right? Like, there's like getting your feel, right, for the terrain, getting your feel for the land, and or even when it comes to, like, because intimacy, right, is really about depth, right? It's like, into me I see. So, like, the reason why a lot of people are like, oh, like, I finally feel seen, is because I got in deep, and I got in deep really, really fast. And, and so the amount of time that perhaps I'm spending, with you, I got to a level of depth that maybe for most of your relationships, or even the relationship that you have with yourself, maybe takes a long time. And that just comes from mastery. It comes from courage. It comes from proficiency. It comes from just experience. Okay, I've been through a lot of fucking shit in my life. The things that I have been in my life, most people will never experience in their lifetime, and that's just a fact. That's just a fact from, a lot of different people that I've spoken to over the years. As a physician, I've worked with thousands of clients over the years. So this isn't like some, like, this actually comes from real, legitimate evidence. So back to what I'm saying about depth, most of the time for most people takes time. But when you have a level of knowing how to get in, right, like inception, right, which is really a Martian power, comes from Mars, which is ruled by, Mars rules Scorpio. You're able to really get in there, right? And you can get in there pretty fast. And in doing that, this is something that I want to clarify that came up in the conversation yesterday, because just because you've been with somebody for a long time, so meaning maybe you've been in the relationship for a really long time, doesn't mean that that relationship isn't there's more investment in the relationship because you've been in the relationship for a longer period of time. That tends to be the case, I would say, with romantic relationships a lot, but that can happen with friendships and familial relationships. But the thing with romantic relationships that happens, that's unfortunate, is that a lot of people don't realize it, but they're into a relationship because of what they can get out of it. How is it serving me? What am I getting out of it? As opposed to learning to love another human being, which is about not what am I getting out of it, but what can I give? What can I bring to the relationship? And so, once somebody has been in a relationship and either they feel like they're not getting what they want out of it, they're not getting what they thought they were going to get out of it, a lot of people just end the relationship. And so that's what creates this, like, experience of feeling like, oh, I've outgrown the relationship. And so they go from relationship to relationship, and then they don't really have relationships that are spanning long periods of time, mostly because they feel like they know this person, right? Like, oh, I already know this person. I already know what they're capable of. I already got everything that I need out of it. It takes a fucking entire lifetime to learn yourself. How can you be so arrogant to think that you know another human being just because you've been with them for 7 years? It takes a fucking lifetime to learn about who you are. How can you have that level of arrogance to assume and think you know everything there is to know about this other human being and what they're capable of and who they really, really are? Because half of the time what people are doing in relationships is projecting themselves into what they're seeing. You're projecting what you want to be true about this person, how this person makes you feel, what you've disowned about yourself. And so now it's like, oh, they can be that for me, right? And or the not so great part is projecting the disowned things about yourself, not just the talents, but like your underbelly qualities. You know, oh, they're the problem. They're not doing this. They've got this going on. And you're projecting all of that onto your partner because you're not really seeing them. That's like a big source of conflict in relationship, is essentially because you're not seeing the other person. You're seeing a pattern. You're seeing the problem that your relationship has that was created by the two people in it, which means you. So just because you've been with somebody for a long period of time, it's like, for example, it's like you can go, like I can be a parent, right? And I'm living with my child. And because I'm living with my child and I'm seeing them every day, it doesn't mean that I'm really close to them. Even though I've been feeding them and cooking for them and doing all of these things every single day, I may not actually really be that close to them as compared to maybe their friend who they get really, really close to because they really trust each other, or they've really opened themselves up, or they feel like they have the permission to be themselves because that's the vibe of the relationship. And so because of that, that relationship has a lot more investment in it than the relationship that they have with their parent. It's the same thing where it's like sometimes with lovers, you can feel like so close, you know, and are so invested in another human being than maybe the person that you're married to. You know, because what happens so many times in infidelity and in cheating and all of that is it's really about you're living a separate life, right? It's meaning you've given yourself permission to be this other part of you and to experience this other part of you that maybe you didn't feel safe, or that you didn't feel safe, or that's the big one. What's up? D is in the house. Yeah, baby girl. One of my musettes is in the house. I'm talking about relationships, some like 101 Lovergirl, I'm talking about like investment and feeling like somebody is into you, being seen, having depth and intimacy, and all of these dynamics, some of the inspirations from Love in the Time of Dragons. Yes, 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 yes. You are soaring. I'm so fucking proud of you. Love having you. So, yeah, so like in this whole infidelity thing is like a lot of times people go and live this other life, right? Because they feel like they can be themselves. They can actually own and or be in touch with this other aspect of themselves that they felt they couldn't be in the relationship, right? So, but then they make the mistake of thinking that it's this other relationship that is like the answer, right? But it's like, again, it's because they're feeling, they're allowing for themselves to be seen. And the kind of paradox around this is sometimes the more that you value someone, and or the more that you feel like it's more high stakes to lose someone, you know, then the more risky it is to allow for this someone to see the real you, because then what if they reject you? Right? So it's like so much easier to perhaps maybe have sex with somebody that you're not that invested in, that they, you know, it's not like that risky. This is why I say, like with women, I see this a lot too, is they choose quote unquote safe men that, you know, it's not a big deal if they get rejected. It's not a big deal if it doesn't work out because they're not risking very much. But when you allow for yourself to be with a man that really has you feeling some kind of way, that would totally crush you, right? That you would feel devastated if the relationship didn't work out. Sometimes it's harder, right, to actually be yourself in that kind of relationship because there's more risk involved, right? So it's like, oh, I can go and expose these other aspects of me with somebody that I haven't really invested that much in because I don't really have that much to lose. You see? So there's like all of these different things that you don't maybe realize. And this is why I say, like, women are some of the best liars in the world. You know, you say that you want to be seen, and you like, I want to be seen, I want to be seen, as long as I don't risk getting exposed. Right? I want to be seen, I want to be seen, but if I invest in the relationship and then I get rejected, like, ooh, I don't want that, right? Like, I don't know if I could handle that because now I've put skin in the game. Because once you really reveal yourself to another human being and who it is that you really are, they can reject you. So many women are like wanting to be chosen. They want to be chosen, they want to be chosen. But they're not even like showing the world who they are so that somebody can see, oh, so that they can see you. Because intimacy and really sex is really just about, it's about being perceived. It's about being seen, right? And we can't be seen if we're closed. It's like a flower, right? Like, by the way, check out these incredible gardenias. Gardenias, by the way, are like my favorite flower. If I could be anything, I would be a fairy that lived in a gardenia. So anyway, which by the way, I'm currently working on a gardenia. I'm working on 3 different perfumes right now. I make botanical natural perfumes, and one that I'm working on right now, this is from the Spun constellation, back when Venus was in Libra last year. I'm still working on it. Now Venus has come full circle and Venus is now back in Libra again. So I'm getting really, really close to completing this. But anyway, just like a flower, right? It's like when a flower is in a bud, because it's really tight, right? It's not open yet. It's like you can't really see the fullest expression of what the flower is. And you can't smell the flower either. When a flower is in a bud, its fragrance isn't even really released. But when a bud starts to open, and this is like what being sexually churned is all about. Like, the more sexually churned that a woman is, the more free that she feels to open herself and open herself to someone, or open herself to the world. And the more that your fragrance gets released. And that fragrance, like in nature, how do bees and other insects know which flowers to pollinate? By the fragrance and or the color. But if you're really tight and you're closed in a bud, you're not really exposing the essence of who it is and what it is that you are. So coming back to when people come to me and they're like, oh my God, like, this is like maybe the first time I've ever felt seen in my life. Or, wow, like, I wasn't expecting to go that deep that fast. This is why, is because there's a level of mastery and investment, right? Like, I know how to get in there. Like, I'm really into my people. And this is why, like, I don't see people, I seen people, SCENED, meaning where I'm really into your myth. I'm really into your lore. And because of that, like, I want to know about your story. Like, this is Like, and that's what the whole space opera is about, right? Is it's about living, like going through these rites of passages in your life. That is what allows for you to come into the fullest expression of your mythology, to live your life like an adventure, to live your life like you are literally going on an epic and what I have called a space opera, because we work a lot with the stars and really going out there, like far, far out there, like the big undreamed of things, the dreams and the desires, the taboo fantasy fairy tale desires that you didn't even know that you had. Okay, so I feel like this has come to a natural close. But if you're loving this conversation and you know, either identify with Lovergirl, wanting to be a lover, and or to, delve deeper into that identity and into that experience in your life, Lovergirl is the Venus retrograde, is the rite of passage that we're doing inside of the STARDISCO space opera. It is exclusively available to the Musettes within my 1 year space opera, and it is for this rite of passage that is Venus and her retrograde, which is a huge deal. It's one of the main pillars that the whole curriculum of the space opera is built around. Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, wealth, romance, pleasure, union, marriage, creativity, virility and vitality, self-expression. Yeah, the beauty that you give yourself permission to express and be seen in. But anyhow, her retrograde is coming up in September. We begin September 18th. It's going to be in the sign of Libra as well as Scorpio. If you've got questions about this, we are in enrollment now. And or if you want to join us in the incubator, which is the wait list for the space opera. If you've got questions about that, we're doing something special right now for the eclipse season. While everybody is scrambling and really struggling with this eclipse, my musettes are soaring. So if you want to know how and you want to know why and you want to do it, message me. There's still spaces available. It's $500 entry. And there's also private spots to work with me one-to-one that are still available. All right, I love you. Bye.